Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. We have an incredible show for you this morning. Listen to just some of the things we're going to cover today. Very big and long new list of partnerships for Stellar that may send the price to the moon, as they say. And then we're going to also look at a new court hearing for Ripple. You're going to want to know about it. It's coming up very quick, just a few days away. Ethereum, wait for it, may not be the internet of value, says a billionaire. And guess what else that billionaire says? He's talking about a new world reserve currency that is derived by crypto-derived ledger system. And we're also going to take a look at many other things, but we're also going to take a look at price. What's going on with price? Are we still where we need to be? Are all of the price targets we've talked about over the last couple of weeks still in play? Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro and find out. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackUpBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today, everybody. Let's go ahead and get into it. $2.5 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency collectively. Now, I think that's a brand new all-time high for crypto collectively. That is an incredible number right there. $56,000 for Bitcoin right now. We're up 1.96 on the 24-hour, 2.13 on the 7-day. More than $1 trillion of that 2.5 is sitting at Bitcoin's house. So let's go ahead and take a look at this because Ethereum has been on a tear. $4,257. It's up 7.42 on the 24-hour, 27.49 on the 7-day. However, I do want to make note. We're almost at a half a trillion. Almost at a half a trillion here. So almost 500 billion for a market cap for Ethereum. And we're going to talk about this. There are some hurdles in front of Ethereum, just like there is a court case in front of XRP, which is why we're sitting at the number 7 spot, courtesy of the dereliction of duty of the SEC, and intimidation tactics will continue. We have a new court hearing. We're going to tell you about that in a few minutes. $1.45 this morning. We're up 2.19%. We're off by 4.26%, and I think a whole lot more on the 7-day. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this really quickly. Private Investing Made Simple, brought to you by Link2. Yeah, you have to be an accredited investor to get these SPVs of these great companies, but man, do they have some. Make sure you register and talk to them about what you need to do to get qualified and accredited, and you could have access to all of these. Uphold was just available, sold out very quickly, and watch out for Kraken because that sells. All of these are selling very quickly, and there's some great companies here. And remember, it's not just about blockchain and crypto. There are AI, data companies, robotics, you name it. They've got a lot of really great stuff in the works there. Make sure you check it out. All right, now $1.45. That's where we're at this morning, but we're ranging between 139 and 154. Again, we're going to take a look at what the experts are saying on this price action or lack thereof, and I think you're going to be happy with what they're saying. So let's go ahead and get into the news this morning. It's Hall of Famer Michael Val 5link says Stellar has a growing list of partners that investors should be aware of. A few examples worth noting are below: Tangum, Zag, Finclusive, Flutterwave, ClickPesa, Uru Wallet, CoinVest, Fireblocks, Tempo, Wire, MVP Workshop, Tribal Credit, and Noodle. Now, I tell you, this is really a growing list for Stellar, and I think it's very exciting because there have been quite a few people out here. I know Joker does a lot of TA and has been talking about XLM, Stellar, pacing or at least keeping up with XRP and the current price targets that the experts are talking about for XRP as well. I know that Joker's also said be on the lookout for a $2 Stellar very soon. Now, I am a utility maxi, not an XRP maxi, so it's important to note that. This I want to show you really quickly here is Iconic Funds physical Bitcoin exchange traded product is listing on the Deutsche Börse's Extra for trading from May 12, 2021, starting today. The product, physically backed by Bitcoin, aims to give investors exposure to the digital currency. This is more and more what we are going to see right here, okay? This is more and more of that. You're going to see these companies or people and investors want exposure to this market without holding the physical asset. Very important to note that, because we know, what do we know? If you look at the metals market, just as an example, because it's so relative to crypto, if you look at that, you see how much of the physical metals are traded every day is absolutely crushed by the amount of paper products that are offered on top of the underlying asset. So if we're talking about futures, call options, swaps, puts, right, ETFs, right, those kinds of products, that is a much larger market that is traded daily than the actual physical assets. And I believe that's what we're seeing really start to blossom and mature as a space for digital assets itself. So here we see Texas House passes crypto-friendly bill, now goes to the Senate. Now, what have we seen? Wyoming has been a leader in this area, right? We know that Florida is really trying to open up the crypto space for investors to come in there. We know that Texas is now passing bills that are crypto friendly. And we also know there are a couple huge companies that for mining Bitcoin have been moving and getting licenses to do renewable and sustainable energy for mining Bitcoin in Texas as well. So this to me, and also yesterday we just reported on what? Nebraska is also moving in that way. So you're seeing a lot of the states, I believe, now roll out what needs to be a supportive measure in passing bills to really support what's going on with the OCC. We're going to hear about that and what Brian Brooks has done there in just a second from the FDIC. Now, this is really, really great bullish action from Senator Cynthia Lummis, who is an advocate for crypto, distributed ledger technology, and Bitcoin alike from Wyoming. And here she has put her hat in the ring by putting an amendment or sponsoring an amendment to the Endless Frontier Act, which would in fact include distributed ledgers in that bill. She is a huge advocate for getting things moving forward, as is Tom Emmer, right, who's really fantastic. Now, this is Jelena McWilliams, the chairwoman for the FDIC, right, the Federal Depository Insurance Corporation Company. We're going to see in just a second. Let's take a look at it here because I can't remember the acronym. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so she is requesting that she hear from the banks about digital assets. If you notice, it's about how they're approaching digital asset market and what they're doing, right? And she's a federal regulator here. But I want to remind everybody, as she is taking note of what banks and everyone and their comments on how to handle these digital assets, not just CBDCs, but digital assets, it's a reminder for new people in the space here. The Office of Comptroller of Currency, Brian Brooks at the time, however, had taken the most concrete steps in bringing the banking sector together with digital asset industry. It was under the former comptroller Brian Brooks of last year, the OCC published several pieces of guidance outlining how banks can interact with the digital assets and has now granted multiple federal trust charters to crypto firms. The U.S. government is also reaching a digital dollar central bank digital currency version of the greenback, which really will pilot test this summer very heavily, is what we've heard from the Federal Reserve. So in her speech, McWilliams has said other countries are evaluating sovereign digital currencies. She pointed to China's digital yuan as one example. Far from merely a domestic endeavor, the digital yuan has potential to expand internationally, she said. One recent estimate is the currency could eventually reach 1 billion users, all while bypassing U.S. dollar-related systems and ultimately U.S. sanctioned regime as well. This should give us a lot to think about. This is the head of the FDIC. These are the people remarking on these things. National Credit Union Administration, federal regulator that oversees credit unions dipping their toes into crypto. Earlier this year, NCUA Vice Chairman Kyle Hopton said that the agency should explore issuance guidance for digital assets and assesses how federal credit unions can interact with the industry. Well, we know how they can act within the industry, because the reality here is that the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, passed effective July 2020 that you could in fact settle for the first time in cross-border payments with banks and credit unions, according to that agency, which by the way is a financial enforcement agency. And they made it very clear in their amendment in July 2020 that, in fact, you could use Swift GPI and Ripple and XRP to affect settlement in cross-border transactions for banks and credit unions, because for the first time in history, you could have transparency on where the payment starts and where it ends, directly end-to-end, A to B, instead of all of this, normally in cross-border transactions, you let the payment go and you don't know how many places it goes before it gets to where you actually intended it to. And you never knew what the fee would actually be. Now, for the first time with these technologies, you can know these things. So this is where we're going, and this is the right level of people that are talking about these items that are coming up. And they're talking about it because they're going to do it. That's really what's going on here. And you know what? This is more sign that it's just not about the United States. This is a global effort here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's getting in the game. Bank of Israel is accelerating its research into central bank digital currencies and making preparations in case it decides to issue a digital shekel. And you know what? I'm pretty sure they're going to as well. This is billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller, and he has a lot to say about the technology. Now, I want to keep these videos as tight as I can today because I want you to see as much as possible, as quickly as possible. But you have to watch from this 1:08 spot here and what he says about the early days analogous to the internet between Yahoo and Google, comparatively like to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and new technology that may come along. Now, this is a 68-year-old billionaire who certainly professes himself. He's not an expert on crypto, but he does understand technology and the waves of technology that evolve over time. Listen to this.
Thankfully, I'm not betting on this one way or the other, Andrew, but my guess would be, you remember Facebook was not the first social network. It was number 11. Yahoo invented the search engine, and with just a marginally better, speedier technology, we all know what happened with Google versus Yahoo. It's just not probable in my mind that Ethereum is going to be the ultimate winner, and that some kid somewhere, because don't forget, some of the best and brightest of kids coming out of this engineering problem, they're all going into crypto. The quality of the competition that's going to come against the incumbents in this space is going to be brutal. That's why I just think it's too early to call who is going to be the winner in terms of the payment system, commerce, and that kind of stuff, as opposed to store of value, where I think it is going to be tough to unseat Bitcoin.
Well said comments from Stanley Druckenmiller here. First of all, yeah, I think Bitcoin has the brand awareness. I have said this for a long time, and I firmly believe that it will be around for a long time. But I also believe that Bitcoin and proof of work, because that's what it runs on, and that's how it's resolving its issues, I believe will have some regulation come down that may, in the short term, affect the price of Bitcoin, but long term, I think it remains because of exactly what Stanley said. However, moving on to Ethereum very quickly here, if you understand what's going on with Ethereum and what is going on with Ethereum, I'll tell you what's going on with it. Look at these gas fees right here. It hit an average of 65.51 cents, $65 plus per transaction as the asset rallied above $4,300 while its market capitalization topped off at $500 billion. Well, this does not a solution make. This is not the internet of value. This is the internet of prices right here, right? And I can't afford them and you can't either. And companies don't want to hear that this is the brand new method, but by the way, it costs a fortune to use it. That's not a solution make right there, I'm going to tell you. So there are real hurdles here. And then when you sprinkle in, he's not, Stanley Druckenmiller's not aware that there's a kid out here that's done a lot of work towards this, and he's already grown up and he's a man. It's Stephen Thomas, and it's Codius. And there's many other things out here too. There's another one out here, Charles Hoskinson, right? And Cardano. All of these networks are really, much better and more efficient than Ethereum. Then we got Flare Networks, for God's sakes, right? So there are a lot of things that can very quickly unseat Ethereum. And believe me, business self-leveling, okay? If you can give me a better price, I don't care how nice and pleasant you are to talk to, By the way, there's no one really to talk to at Ethereum. So that at the end of the day, you don't even have the customer service side together because there isn't any. So this is what I'm talking about. Business will go where the money flows, and the money is going to flow. And my customer across the street is now using the other company because it's cheaper. I have no choice but to go with, Codius or ADA or some other solution, Flare Networks or what have you. It's going to happen if they don't resolve these gas fees. Now, this is another comment that was made here by Stanley Druckenmiller, who was on a roll when it came to crypto. And you're going to need to hear this whole thing. Let's go ahead and check this out right here and listen very carefully what he says here.
I want to get to something that it just is amazing to just see it in print from you, and that is, when we do lose the status as a world reserve currency, it's going to be hard to find a replacement because in China, there's a lack of trust in the currency of a foreign dictatorship, obviously, and then Europe's a mess. Your best guess is that a crypto-derived ledger system will be invented and that will become the reserve currency of the world?
Okay, let's not get too carried away.
I know, but that just sizzles with, sell the steak. Go ahead.
I knew crypto was going to come up in this show. Okay, so it's okay. But look, one of the lines about the dollar we've all heard 100 times the last 10 years is we're the cleanest dirty shirt in the room. There's no alternative. And it's true. That is what has been our strongest case for the dollar. Is Europe is a complete mess. Who's going to trust the Chinese? So it can't be them. And I've been groping, well, how does that resolve itself? Well, you probably don't remember this, Joe, but 5 or 6 years ago, I said that crypto was a solution in search of a problem. And that's why I didn't play crypto the first wave, because we already had the dollar. What do we need crypto for?
Well, listen to what he's about to say right now.
Well, the problem has been clearly identified. It's Jerome Powell and the rest of the world's central bankers. There's a lack of trust. So sort of groping for an answer for a central case at best guess, and it's hard to make a forecast 3 months from now, much less 15 years from now. I think the most likely replacement would be some kind of ledger system invented by some kids from MIT or Stanford or some other engineering school that hasn't even happened yet, that can replace the dollar worldwide. I don't know what it'll be. I just know if the Fed is forced to monetize the debt, remember, all in the name of raising inflation 30 basis points. I really don't understand why 1.6% inflation with a mandate of price stability is a national tragedy. But okay, if they want to do all this and risk our reserve currency status, risk an asset bubble blowing up, so be it. But I think we ought to at least have a conversation about it.
Well, there you have it. I tell you, this guy really understands it. I mean, I know he's not aware of XRP, or maybe he is and being coy about his comments, but certainly there's going to be great technology developed in the future, as he said, by young kids at MIT and other places. But Ripple XRP is here. And you know what? It does what many of the thousands upon thousands of coins in the digital asset space cannot do. It does what it says it can do. That's what XRP can do, right? And it has the relationships with the banking system, with the financial sector, to be the solution for payments, to actually serve as the role to be a neutral bridge currency, as we covered yesterday from the Ripple document. That is a very key component, not only just interoperability, but you have to have, and it will not work. All the central banks are developing central bank digital currencies, and that system doesn't work on the digital level world. It doesn't work unless you have neutral bridge currencies to settle them. And that's exactly what he's referencing here to alleviate the stress off the US dollar. This is really important here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new court hearing, a new telephonic conference for Ripple and the SEC, May 21st, just days away here, folks. And this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to hear about that new recently filed motion to compel from the SEC. Listen to this. This is a goodie. They want Ripple to have to break the lawyer-client privilege to provide information and those conversations to the SEC because of the defense that that Ripple has taken for fair notice defense. This is absurd, I have to tell you. And I cannot wait for the judge and others to respond on this. And let me tell you, I don't know. The judge has been very kind up until now when they've rebuked the requests from the SEC. But at some point, I would think the judge is going to start losing their patience here. This to me, and look, I'm 12 years shy of a law degree, but the reality is this is getting pretty embarrassing here. So make sure you tune into that. We'll try to provide the information as it becomes available. This is Dark Defender. I told you we would look at price, and let me tell you something. Dark Defender is just as bullish as ever here, and you need to know about it. He says, I can feel the request for another tweet on an update. Remember, all charts since my first tweet are reflecting exactly what we thought and actualized. Delay occurred due to SEC, but targets are and will be achieved. I will never delete any single of my tweets as a principle since November 20. This is from that moment and reposted and shared on February 26. And these, in fact, are the price targets here. And he still remains strong about meeting them. And he's talking about ultimately hitting a $20 XRP at some point, and then a $125 XRP. And these timelines may shift or slightly adjust, right? But this is what we're talking about here. So he's talking about the idea of second quarter being in a $16 pound, which is a $20 US XRP. And then third quarter, potentially a $100 to $125 XRP, and so on. And here by 2023, looking at the possibility of a $700 550 pound, or euro. I think that's euro. I get the symbol confused for pound and euro. I think it's actually euro, but nevertheless, $700 XRP, and so on and so on. And he feels very confident that what we're seeing, the roll off on price or consolidation, where it kind of moves sideways, it falls down, then moves sideways a little bit, is not breaking any of the chart analysis that they have done. And we're getting this same affirmation from others as well, whether it be Crypto Wizard or Coins Kids or even Tara. If you're not following the Tara technical analyst, you should follow her as well. Really great stuff. So that's going to do it for me. I'm going to wrap it right there. There's a lot happening in crypto. Keep your head on a swivel. You just never know. And by the way, make sure you hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment below. CryptoTaxAudit.com. Clinton Donnelly is the foremost authority on crypto taxes. 3 more days for the deadline here in the United States. Make sure you become a member and find out all of the amazing benefits you get for a very, very affordable price. I'll catch all of you on the next one.